Peace, health, and longevity. If you want to consume more plant-based foods, if you want to abstain from junk foods, if you want to consume fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and herbs, and avoid dead flesh, artificial flavors and colorings, sweeteners, anything that is unreal basically, purchase this particular manual, The Easiest Way to Become a Vegan by Pharaoh Ramesses El-Aton, who has been a vegan 40 plus years. He will take you step by step on how to abstain from the junk foods, how to abstain from the dead flesh, the chicken, the turkey, the pork, beef, and all sorts of animal products. Purchase this particular manual, The Easiest Way to Become a Vegan, to eat more natural. Remember that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. Let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. Consume of every fruit-bearing and herb-bearing tree. Unto you it shall be for meat. Purchase this particular manual, The Easiest Way to Become a Vegan by Pharaoh Ramesses El-Aton. Peace, health, and longevity.
Positive energy all the time. We are here. Welcome to Vegan Intel. Welcome to Vegan Intel. Hope you're all feeling great. Hope you're eating well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. That's very, very, very important. If you're trying to change the way you eat, you're struggling with it, you want some help, go to www.veganintel.com and grab the easiest way to become a vegan. Follow the instructions, and everything will go nice and smooth for you. Okay? All right? www.veganintel.com. This manual, inexpensive, an easy guide to help keep you on track. And this will prevent you from making mistakes because it's mistake proof. All right? This is designed for you to fall off and get back on the wagon. All right? Because sometimes if you fall off, you get a little depressed or you get a little down and out and you just give up. If you get this manual, I not only teach you how to take the steps to eat better, but I show you how to fall off, but really still be on, how to just fall off a little bit. You can fall off a little bit if you take steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, you fall off, you go back to 3. Wait, get your bearings, go try 4 again. I can't pull it off. Back to 3. You don't go all the way back to 0. So this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. They're saying it's a possibility that ultra-processed foods can cause lung cancer. Now, we've heard cancer, we've heard stomach cancer, we've heard colorectal cancer. Now, they're trying to do research, unbelievably, to find out if it could cause lung cancer. I'm telling you, if it's not one thing, it's another one. I kid you not. If it's not one thing, it is another thing. When I was young, young people, we were in our 20s. This is back in like 1979, 80. And one of the young ladies our age, 19, 20, she rented some chairs, went and got some chairs, and she brought a teacher to her house. A brother by the name of Ra Nafer Amin. And Ra Nafer Amin, while listening to his lecture, he said that there's not a lot of different cancers, just one cancer. But he says that one cancer, when it formulates in different parts of the body, they call it a different cancer. So if it formulates in your lungs, they call it lung cancer. If it formulates in your stomach, they call it stomach cancer. If it forms in your rectum, they call it rectal cancer. If it forms in your lungs, it's called lung cancer. So his philosophy, not mine, and this is just an idea he was saying, that is really just cancer. And it happens to form in different parts of the body. And so they give it different names based on where it formed in your body. It sounded pretty credible, but we can't say these things are for sure. We just have to say this is what we heard. Just like this report, they said this is a possibility. They're not saying for sure because they have to do more research to be able to say for sure. But they kind of believe that ultra processed foods could increase your risk of lung cancer by 40%, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy. You have to work so hard to stay healthy. One of the main reasons we have to work so hard to to stay healthy. One of the main reasons we have to work so hard to stay healthy is because of the greed for money. And this greed for money is causing people to do just anything and sell just anything for $1. This is the main problem. This is the main problem. Money. Money, money, money. I just watched a video on Instagram earlier, and I just couldn't believe what they were saying. If you test your different food, what they put in it. I couldn't believe it. They were saying if you take salt and you put it in a glass and it's cloudy, it's like some type of substance with it. All this, I can't say this is for sure, but it was really spooky. All of the things they were claiming could be in your food. As they was claiming like your vitamins could be fake, all this stuff. You just almost don't know who to trust. You almost have to test everything. I can see where there's going to be some type of testing system that's going to eventually be, if you don't see them give it the okay, you're not going to buy it. That would be great if some plant-based type scientists, people that know this stuff, did the test themselves and just put out their list. But what's so crazy about it, if something passed the test, they selling bootleg versions of things. So just because they say this brand is all right, now the question is, are you getting the authentic brand? It's really ridiculous. I think switching up these foods and putting all kind of stuff in these foods to make, I think if they start giving people 30 years, 10 years, 15 years, they'll stop doing that. So let's look at this. Emerging research suggests a potential link between a higher intake of ultra-processed foods and an increased risk of lung cancer. One study published in the medical journal Thorax analyzed the dietary patterns of over 100,000 adults over a 20-year period and found that those with the highest consumption of ultra-processed foods had a 41% increased risk of being diagnosed with lung cancer compared to those with the lowest intake. This association remained even after accounting for factors like smoking and socioeconomic status. However, it is important to note that this was an observational study, which means it can only show an association and cannot prove that ultra processed foods directly cause lung cancer. So they're not saying that they have proven this. Okay? This is just an observational study. Further research is needed to establish a causal link and understand the underlying mechanisms involved. Okay? But they analyzed the dietary patterns of over 100,000 adults over a 12-year period. So over a 12-year period, they analyzed the dietary patterns of over 100,000 adults and found that those with the highest consumption of ultra-processed foods had a 41% increased risk of being diagnosed with lung cancer compared to those with the lowest intake. And when you look at a lot of that stuff, with all that red dye and all that stuff in it, you could tell you ain't supposed to be eating it. Like some of this stuff, you look at it, you could tell I ain't supposed to eat this. Because for one thing, it's all fluffy. You know, you go get a bag of potato chips and it's like they blew all this air in the bag. And when you open it and you look at the potato chips, it's a whole big bag of potato chips. But when you look at the chip, you say, this is probably only a fifth of a potato. You know, this ain't even a half a potato. They done sliced up a little bit of this thing and puffed it up with air some kind of way. The potato chips to make them, you can almost see through them. They're not solid, and they're put in there and blow air put in the bag, and you got nothing really. And sometimes I wonder if they cut them with something because they make you full, but you haven't had nothing. I don't know if y'all notice that, but you can eat some potato chips and get full, but you ain't really ate nothing. So what is it that's making you feel like you full? There's nothing there. I think one of the things make you full is it also seems it's made to be so dry that you have to drink something with it. And so, if you get a soda and the chips, that's going to give you the illusion you're full. Because you're eating a couple of chips and you're drinking the soda, and now you're feeling full. But you're not full, and you got zero nutrition. Now, let's put a theory out there. Let's say last night I had a great dinner. Lots of vegetables, beans, vegetables, and there was, let's say, 70% increase in my nutrition intake last night. Now, if I get up today and I eat some junk with no nutritional value, Is it just no nutrition value? Will it deplete nutrition? Will it take you to a negative? In other words, if you ate some food and it's got your nutrition is up, a little protein, vitamin C, a little calcium, a little vitamin A, a little D. If you eat something that's no nutrition, we know it won't add no nutrition, but it subtract the nutrition you ate. They need to do a study on that. Let's see if I can find it. Wow. I tell you, man, these people crazy. Look at this. I asked it. I said, does junk food deplete the nutrition of your body? It says yes. It's just unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this. I'm just starting using AI to ask questions. And this is just unbelievable. It says yes. Excessive consumption of junk food can lead to nutrient deficiencies by displacing nutrient-rich foods from the diet and potentially interfering with nutrient absorption. So in other words, you're putting it where you could be putting food with nutrition. That's one thing. But this the interesting part. Interfering with nutrient absorption. So we're saying this bad food cuts your body's ability to absorb nutrients. I don't think nobody knows this. Junk food is often high in calories, sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats, but low in essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber. When you eat a lot of junk food, you're less likely to eat enough of the fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins that provide essential nutrients. Some components, where it says potential interference, some components of junk foods, like excessive sugar and saturated fat, can interfere with the absorption of certain nutrients such as calcium and iron. You know what, y'all? Don't nobody know that, do they? Don't nobody know that. Listen, y'all. Nobody knows that. Wow. I've never heard that before. Nobody knows that. Wow. Does anybody know that? Chat, have you ever heard that before? Anybody in the chat ever heard that before? I never heard that before. I never heard that before. That's absolutely crazy. I never knew that. This is why I don't like to know what's going on until I go live. I like the people that know what's going on too and go live and just break it all down. But I get a big kick out of finding out stuff at the same time my viewers find out. I enjoy that. I enjoy finding out at the same time my viewers find out. So I'll just look up where the information is at, but I won't read it until my viewers are here. And we kind of like read it together. And that's why. So I can get the same experience you got. And we all be saying the old saying, hecky no. That's what we all be saying. Hecky no. Hecky no. That's all I can say. I cannot believe this is like a bad dream sometime in this world we are living in. It's kind of like a bad movie. It's kind of like a movie about a world where they have people under like hypnosis, and not only are the people under hypnosis and don't know what's going on, but they got them to the point where even if they find out what's going on, they won't even care, because this is just absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not understanding why there's no, well, I kind of understand. They want to give people the freedom to do what they want to do. So I can understand giving people the right to eat what they want to eat. What I don't understand is giving the right to companies to sell whatever they want to sell. Companies should be responsible enough so it's kind of limited on how much bad stuff we can get. They shouldn't be able to just throw it out there and make our choices automatically be bad. I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. I think that's negative. I don't agree with that. There should be some kind of responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I never heard that either, Albatross. Quaylen, I never heard that before. That the food I eat not only don't give me nothing, but it could make the good food I eat not even absorb into my body. That's absolutely crazy. Now imagine my children that's got even a weaker system. And I ain't bought them a bunch of potato chips and cookie and candy and stuff. And so now when they eat, they not even getting what they supposed to get out the food. That's so deep. That's crazy. That is just like a mind boggling. And then they just let them sell this stuff like crazy. And even, when you wake up and you look at the bags look bogus. When you look at the bags, it just look foul. The colors and everything, it just don't look right. You know what I'm saying? Yes, excessive consumption of junk food can lead to nutrient deficiency. This is crazy. Crazy. Possible explanations for the observed link. Poor nutritional quality. Ultra processed foods are often high in calories, sugar, unhealthy fats, and salt, while being low in essential nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Food additives and contaminants. See, I don't like that word. when I'm thinking about food. I don't like the word contaminants. What do you mean contaminants? Some additives commonly used in ultra processed foods like emulsifiers and certain contaminants from packaging have been implicated in potential carcinogenic effects and inflammation. So they saying the packaging might be getting into our system and getting on the food. Disruption of the gut microbiome, a biome. Research suggests that high ultra processed food intake may negatively alter the balance of bacteria in the gut, which can impact overall health and potentially influence cancer risk. Recommendations given the potential health risk associated with ultra processed foods, it's advisable to limit their consumption and focus on a way of eating foods rich in fruits, vegetables. Focus on eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, according to the American Institute of Cancer Research. It is also crucial to remember that smoking remains the leading cause of lung cancer, and quitting smoking is the most effective way to reduce your risks. I tell you. It's just crazy. And it's in all kind of studies. I looked up a bunch of studies. And it's everywhere. See, eating more ultra processed food raises your risk of lung cancer. While ultra processed foods are widely thought of as unhealthy, their associated with their association with lung cancer has not been validated so far. A recent study published in Thorax examined whether lung cancer risk was increased in people who ate more ultra processed food. This study looked at overall lung cancer rates and two cancer types: non small cell lung cancer and small cell lung cancer. Ultra processed foods are becoming increasingly widely adopted as a major part of the diet globally. This trend shows no signs of decreasing, even though ultra processed food intake correlates with increased risk of death, cancer, irritable bowel disease, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and hypertension. Wow. Unbelievable. Lung cancer is a leading cause of death, with 2.2 million new cases being reported each year and 1.8 million deaths worldwide. It remains latent for years or decades before manifesting itself clinically. These aspects lend urgency to early diagnosis and preventive efforts. So it's saying you'll have lung cancer and it'll hide. It'll hide, and most likely by the time it pop out, you probably messed up. Cigarette smoking is a primary risk factor for lung cancer, but diet also plays an important role. Ultra processed foods are easily accessible, extremely delicious, with additive tastes, and very convenient as they avoid the mess and time involved in cooking. They also cost less than whole foods and have a long shelf life. Conversely, they are non nutritious and calorie dense. Ultra processed food is made from food ingredients extracted or synthesized chemically, or by highly processed food components. It is deficient in micronutrients, including vitamins and minerals, but high in sugars and salts, and a host of additives not found in home cooked foods. Unfortunately, ultra processed food is designed to replace all other food groups with attractive packaging and intense marketing. According to the authors, this flies in the face of all its known association with metabolic and cardiovascular disease, including hypertension, obesity, diabetes, cancer, and death. It may not be considered that these conditions have increased in prevalence along with the global rise in ultra processed food intake across socioeconomic strata and regional diversity. Therefore, the current study explored how ultra processed food consumption is related to lung cancer and its primary subtypes. About the study, the participants were part of a prostate, lung, colorectal, and ovarian cancer screening trial based on the NOVA system. Their dietary patterns was assessed using questionnaire and classified as ultra processed foods or otherwise. Study findings. The study found that 1,706 cases of lung cancer. The study found 1,706 cases of lung cancer. Of these, 1,473 was NSCLC cases, making up the vast majority, 86%, with 233 SCLC cases. The mean follow-up lasted 12 years amongst over 101,000 adults with an average age of 63 at the start. Ultra-processed food intake mainly consisted of lunch meat and soft drinks. So lunch meat 11%, soft drinks 13%, caffeinated or otherwise. After adjusting for multiple factors that could also increase lung cancer risk, the researchers concluded that people with the highest ultra-processed food intake also had a 41% higher risk of lung cancer compared to those who ate the least ultra-processed food. The risk of NSCLC and SCLC was comparably raised by 37% and 44% respectively. Even after adjusting for total energy intake, ultra-processed food intake was still associated with lung cancer risk and NSCLC risk. Interestingly, there was no linear dose response pattern for SCLC, though the risk increased in a nonlinear pattern with either lung cancer or NSCLC. Prior research suggests that cutting out ultra-processed foods in favor of minimally processed foods could decrease the risk of neck, colon, and liver cancer. I can see neck cancer because all that stuff is in your neck when you're eating all them flaming hots and all that stuff. That stuff can be good for your throat. This is really crazy. The Western diet is linked to higher lung cancer rates. The current study is, however, among the first to demonstrate a link between ultra processed food intake and lung cancer, both overall and its subtypes. This association with lung cancer may be driven in part by ultra processed foods' poor nutritional profile, coupled with the replacement of healthy foods that reduce the risk. Ultra processed food may also inhibit satiety response and interfere with how the body safely disposes of high carbohydrate foods, resulting in excessive energy intake. Irrespective of this, however, ultra processed food intake was still associated with increased lung cancer risk, perhaps because it also predicts a deficiency of bioactive compounds. Mm. The additives in ultra processed food are still under study, but could potentially play a role in carcinogenesis. Potentially, come on. For instance, carrageenan is commonly used to thicken foods. Remember, I just said it seemed like that stuff make you full. Carrageenan is in it. That's why it bloats you and you feel like you're full and you're not. But preclinical studies indicate that it inflames the gut and may indirectly promote lung cancer, as could disrupt the glutamate metabolism. Contamination of ultra processed food with plastics related polychlorinated biphenyls could be another possibility, as these have estrogenic activity and might promote lung cancer cell proliferation. According to prior population studies, these chemicals persist in the body despite regulatory bans. That don't sound right. The amount of industrial processing needed to produce ultra processed foods alters the structure and chemistry of the food substrate, with adverse effects on the bioavailability and potential generation of toxic substances. For instance, acrolein found in grilled sausage and cigarette smoke. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Found in sausage and cigarette smoke has been shown in cell studies to promote cancerous changes in the lung via mitochondrial DNA damage. Conclusion: the study concluded that higher consumptions of ultra processed food is associated with an increased risk of lung cancer, NSCLC, and SCLC. However, causality cannot be established due to the study's observational nature. So it's only observation, so they can't say this is absolute. The study was mainly performed on non-Hispanic white participants, limiting its generalizability. Future studies should extend and validate these results in more diverse and large samples. If further research confirms these associations, public health policies should aim to reduce ultra processed food intake worldwide. So they saying they only did it on non-Hispanic whites, the study. Look, man. I'm going to keep it real. When I read about our food, I should not feel like I'm taking advanced college level science. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? What? The one thing said it's got the same thing in the ultra processed food as in the cigarettes or something like that. No, the same thing that's in the meat, the sausage is in the cigarettes. Wait a minute, man. How is something in the sausage and cigarette? None of this don't sound right. This don't sound right. This definitely sounds like insubordination on behalf of the people that's providing the food to the citizens. That's what it sounds like. Somebody's looking the other way to make a dollar because nothing I just read makes any kind of sense. I got another article. I don't even want to read it. It's probably going to say the same thing. We'll just brush over it. If it's repetitive, we won't. But I'm not feeling good. What you eat may impact your lung cancer risk, according to a new study. So they probably just going to report there are many reasons to avoid ultra-processed foods, including a link with heart disease, diabetes, obesity, but an increased risk of lung cancer may be yet another, a new study suggests. Ultra-processed foods contain ingredients never or rarely used in kitchens or classes of additives whose function is to make the final product palatable and more appealing. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, those ingredients found in items such as sodas, chips, packaged soups, chicken nuggets, and ice cream can include preservatives against mold or bacteria, artificial coloring, emulsifiers to stop separation, and added or altered sugar, salt, and fats to make food more appealing. People who eat the most unprocessed foods are 41% more likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer than those who eat the least, even after accounting for other factors such as smoking, according to the study published in the journal Thorax. Basically, it's saying the same thing. I'm going to keep it real. This sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy. This just proves what I've been telling people and telling people. We are on our own. We are on our own. Because these people are doing whatever. Look, article after article is reporting this. Here we go in the Independent, same thing. Lung cancer warning for foods which make up half the average diet. Half of the average diet is ultra processed foods. Half. That's absolutely crazy. Send this to everybody. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and send this to everybody. When you come over here and you watch these, send them to everybody. They might not watch the first one. They might not watch the second one. But we got to get people to pay this stuff some attention. Maybe we could save some people. Because I've been plant-based for 47 years. I don't know none of this. Never heard of it. I just knew it was junk food, and I always looked at it like, that's junk food, it ain't healthy. And then with all the flaming hot stuff, I was like, might give you ulcers. That's how I looked at it. I didn't know what it do, but it just looked like that's a bunch of, as junk food, it might give you ulcers and it might give you diabetes because a lot of the junk food is like a bunch of sugary stuff. But I didn't know the details like that, But in your mind, especially when you see the flaming hot stuff, in your mind, all that red stuff. What exactly is that? Because it's not cayenne and it's not ketchup. It's something they made red. And you watch people eat it and your fingers get dyed red. And I always thought about if you eating these flaming foods and then when you get finished, your hands is red and it stays on your hand. Even when you wash your hands, if you don't wash them for a minute, that red won't come out right away. And your fingers are kind of tough, so imagine your stomach lining and your neck. Your whole neck is dyed red in the inside. And that neck flesh in the inside is soft. Your fingers is a little rough, but imagine that red stuff on the soft part, like in the inside of your jaw. Imagine that in that type of tissue. Now, that can't be healthy because put your tongue in your jaw, and that's your stomach lining and your throat and all that. If you put that red stuff on the outside of your skin, it might burn if you don't wash it off after a while. So imagine in here, all in your throat and all in your stomach, and that pink flesh, where it's definitely going to burn and absorb. That can't be good. It can't. So look, take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And if you're a parent, you have to take care of your children. You cannot depend on a system that's making money to take care of your children and you. You husbands, try to encourage your wife to eat better. You wives, try to encourage the husband to eat better. You parents, eat better so you can encourage your children to eat better. Because it's clear, for the love of money, they'll do anything. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So look, y'all, stay positive, eat to live, health is wealth. So guess what? Take care of yourself. Follow Vegan Intel on all social media, all right? Go vegan and victory.